Good afternoon everyone, just Adam from Zero Friction Cycling with what will be for real a short video for me today just to touch on a couple of topics. I will actually be going through, because I've got a fair bit of content to actually try to get out to you in the near future, and rather than me sort of cover a whole lot of topics in a long vid, I'm going to be actually trying to just get pumping out a few short ones and just push through a bit of stuff that I'm a fair bit behind on updating you. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll get a whole bunch out over the next few weeks and keep you entertained and low friction. So today though, I'm just going to be touching on the update just with regards to the Rex Black Diamond Wax launch, and just go over a few bits there, whether you're an existing immersive waxer or not, as to whether or not this product will be of interest for yourself. I'll also be touching on the new SRAM's Eagle XXSL group set, just looking at it from the perspective of sort of, I guess, the friction and wear, and what you might want to be mindful of with regards to that group set if you were excitedly looking at that one. Even if you're a road cyclist and maybe not particularly generally interested in mountain bike group set stuff, that you'll probably find there may still be some information with regards to this that might carry over into your sort of thoughts and so on with regards to your road group set if you're on an expensive road group set. So have a crack at listening to that little segment anyway and see if it interests you or not. And then I'll also just be finishing off with just a little bit of an update on the testing front. I've been really behind in updating sort of testing stuff. I've been still testing away as fast as I can in amongst everything else. What it sort of meant is I've got a lot of testing that's, I guess, been completed. Detail reviews haven't been updated. I'm really struggling to get to the detail reviews with the existing format, which is sort of quite time intensive for me to get done. So I'm going to be moving to getting those done on just a video as well, and I'll be linking to the video going forwards from the website, as opposed to that link going to a fairly lengthy document. So I'm just going to update though what detail reviews I guess will be forthcoming in video format, because there's a whole bunch of those. So again, just to flag that they may be of interest for you coming up, and also what's currently on test at the moment and what will be coming up on test. So yeah, there'll be a little bit there, and where I can, even the test that I've got at the moment, where we're sort of part way through, I'll be trying to just get the latest data up on screen as to where we're at with those tests and how they're looking. So you'll get to see some sort of new data and what's ranking where with things that are happening in the land of low friction. So we've been working with Rex for really over 12 months on this, and basically by working with, what that meant is that Rex sent me blend after blend after blend, and I test until we arrived at the best blend that they would achieve with their base wax plus the right amount of friction modifier block. Across the testing, really, so what Rex have brought to market as what I think is a really good differentiator is that instead of the wax being a pre-mix from the gun, is that each box you do get 11 base blocks of the base wax, and then you have a friction modifier block which contains all the low friction goodness, which is secret. And so you're able to really tailor your blend to quite a degree. You can put the modifier block in with all 11 base blocks. You could put it in with 7 base blocks. You could put it in with 4 base blocks for a really concentrated blend. What we ended up testing mostly at the end, in terms of testing for the production version, was their 4+1 mix and the 11+1 mix. Now the main difference with the Rex wax versus the main competitors in the immersive wax space, which will be Molten Speed Wax and Silka Hot Melt. The main key difference is its outright treatment longevity. So it's really, especially in sort of, this is a dry road condition test, you can sort of see that it's a fair way ahead there. It's important to note that there is a time with the immersive wax where it is going to start to feel and sound dry, kind of like what all immersive waxes will do past a certain number of kilometers. However, the friction modifiers that they're using, it really just provides such a huge amount of wear protection for the chain, even once the base wax is wearing really thin. And this is sort of, what we were noticing through the testing is that even when the chain was sounding really obviously very dry, if you were riding that in real life, it would be certainly not pleasurable riding it that dry. And yet still interval check after interval check after interval check, there was just no wear showing up, which is not normally what you would see. Normally what you can tend to see with the immersive waxes is they all tend to just be nowhere, like zero wear showing, zero wear showing, zero wear showing, and that will continue on up until the point where the wax is worn too thin, and then you'll get a relatively faster ramp up in, a wear rate jump. So different profile to what you would normally see with, say, a good wet lubricant, where a good wet lubricant will tend to just have very low wear, and that very low wear rate just sort of comes in each interval check after check after check after check, and then at a certain point, that wear rate will have accumulated up to the wear stop point for the test. Whereas with an immersive wax, you get a completely different profile, typically whereby the wear rate stays basically at zero and is zero until such time as the wax coating's pretty much done, and you get a very sharp ramp. You get just a sudden jump in that wear rate. With the Rex wax, that was quite different. So it just really kept sort of trucking along, showing basically near zero wear at each interval, and that just kept going on and on and on, past the point where the wax was extremely dry and quite sort of noisy on the test machine. So what that really means for those who are either immersive waxing in real life and finding that sometimes they're struggling to keep up with the sort of the re-wax intervals, which can happen for some people that are sort of riding a fair bit and leading pretty busy lives with work and family, or they just tend to find that they forget, or they tend to do a lot of really long, arduous rides, and can be in a situation where they're really pushing the treatment lifespan. Then this may be a wax that is of sort of strong consideration for them, where even once it's sort of giving fairly clear sort of feel and audible feedback that the base wax layer is definitely getting really thin, which you do notice with an immersive wax when that's happening, because the chain does become noisier. You do get some feedback through the pedals. What you've got with this wax is some outstanding protection against wear, even once that base wax is getting really quite done. So, depending on what your cycling is like and what your preferences are, this is definitely, I guess I would say, it's a great addition to the world of immersive waxing to have this product enter the market, and it's something that I can say from really the fact that even just for this product, they've pretty much had a test machine booked out, solid testing blend after blend for over 12 months. That that they have worked really hard on what they've brought to market here. So it is always for me quite exciting and really pleasing to see when a manufacturer in this space works so genuinely hard to bring a genuinely great product to market that's going to save cyclists a lot of wear, which is a lot of money, over time with running a drivetrain, especially as drivetrains get more and more expensive, which will be the next part I get onto in the vid. So have a look at the briefing. So this is the PDF download from the Rex website, which I'll get onto my website soon as well. All right, so the main questions that you may be pondering with regards to Rex wax is it faster than M-Speed wax or Silka Hot Melt? The answer to that is really we don't know. So if you have watched my episode 11 on just what a basket case outright efficiency testing is in the bicycle chain lubricant space, and if you haven't, go and watch that one. That'll be probably pretty eye-opening for you. But you may know that really the only efficiency test lab that I place some really confidence in is the Ceramic Speed Denmark research test lab. They haven't tested this wax, so I don't have any outright efficiency data for it. But as always, we do know that if, really there, especially with a wax, if there is zero wear or extremely low wear occurring, then the product is highly likely to be really at the pointy end of town in terms of its outright low efficiency, as obviously opposed to a lubricant where your chain is, the parts are being abraded through quite quickly and you're getting very high wear rates. It's really quite impossible for that lubricant to be a low friction lubricant if it is abrading through the hardened steel components of your chain at a prodigious rate. So the fact that the black diamond wax has performed so well in the zero friction cycling wear tests, then we can place a lot of confidence with regards to that, and especially I guess for a lot of the market that doesn't really care if a particular wax or lubricant is 3.8 watts or 3.5 watts or 4.2 watts. What they care about is how long are their lovely drivetrain components going to last, especially if those drivetrain components are very expensive. Then we have the wear rate data that's going to be really what is most sort of pertinent for you with regards to what it is that you want to see, which is your lovely bit staying with you and loving you long time. All right, can we use this wax with the Rex Black Diamond Drip lubricant? So at the moment, like a pretty popular path for many that really don't want what they may feel is the pressure of needing to re-wax every time they relube their chain. With molten speed wax and Silka hot melt, it's pretty popular to use in conjunction with those, either Silka Super Secret Drip or Ceramic Speed UFO Drip or True Tension Tungsten All Weather. They are really fully compatible with those waxes, which means that you can say start waxed, top up your chain as needed for the next sort of 3 or 5 relubrications with any one of those lubricant options, and then just do a re-wax at around that sort of 3rd or 5th time to reset any contamination that may be starting to build in the chain. And so you get the vast majority of the benefits of always immersive waxing, but for some it just takes the pressure off doing so. For this particular one, so Rex do have their own black diamond drip lubricant. At this stage, the advice is no, don't use that one with your Rex black diamond wax. The black diamond drip lubricant is a wet lubricant, and wet lubricants just don't really play at all with an immersive wax. The immersive wax needs to bond to your chain metal, and then as you do the initial sort of break-in on your riding over that sort of first 10 to 15 minutes, that wax coating polishes to a lovely high sheen, and all of your chain components are then just coated in this super slippery solid coating of wax, basically leaving the chain metal out of the equation. A wet lube is going to really hinder that bonding process for the wax to be able to bond to your chain metal. So at the moment, the advice would be basically similar to what we do with M-Speed wax and hot melt. However, in this case, whilst things are kind of secret, and I can't really say exactly what's in what, but overall, I would say that the best of those to use with black diamond wax would be Ceramic Speed's UFO Drip. I believe that the friction modifier type is going to be likely most similar with that lubricant as it is with the wax. However, you're not going to really have an issue with the others at all. How do you get started? So like the other waxes that we offer, so we have been able to add, now we've just sort of finished doing the work on that with adding Rex Black Diamond wax to the online store and also to the bundle packs. So previously we would offer, and the bundles and also pre-prepped chains are pretty much our most popular items, because most people do not want to have all the faff and mess with cleaning factory grease off themselves. So with the bundle packs as a default, you are buying a chain and a wax, and for buying both at once, the bundle packs have a bit of a built-in discount to them. So you basically select your chain, providing we can get stock of the chain, and then you can choose what wax you would like to go with that chain, and you can choose what pre-prep option, so the chain will be ultrasonically cleaned and prepped with that particular wax option. So we have Rex Black Diamond Wax on there as well. So you can get that in a bundle pack. So the pack would come with the chain, and we're pre-prepped with that wax and the Rex Black Diamond wax to go along with it. So you would be all off and running to the races with your super low friction and low wear path. Or similarly, if you are just looking at a chain, then you can just purchase a chain and have that option. If I can find a chain to come up, here we go, website. You can choose whether or not you want that chain pre-prepped with the Rex Black Diamond wax, and give that one a try. So the option for whichever wax treatment you would like, that is now all up and loaded. So that's going to be the easiest way. Literally each month, basically around 95% of our chain sales, the customer is choosing for them to be ultrasonically cleaned and waxed by us, which makes things a whole lot easier. But of course, you can choose for, not all, but for most chains, you can choose if you wish to do the cleaning yourself, then you can do so. And we have instructions on how to do that. So if you're wondering how to get started with immersive waxing with either the new Black Diamond Wax or any of the others, everything you could ever want to know is all on the ZFC website. Okay, moving on to, so most of you may have heard of the new SRAM Eagle XXSL Eagle transmission, which has been launched. There's a whole bunch of ins and outs with this, so I'm not going to go into all of those, because other podcasts that you can already go and listen to, there's a great one by the Escape Collective. Dave Rome really does a great coverage on the XXSL group set launch, and it's been across many websites. There are a lot of great, well, in my opinion, there are a lot of great steps forward with this particular group set. There are a couple of concerns which some other channels have covered. However, overall, as a group set and a functional group set and a path forward, many parts of this I am a big fan. I'm going to concentrate though just on really the bits that pertain to my little sphere of low friction and wear. Otherwise, if I did a deep dive on this, it'd be a 3-hour video. So yeah, where it's really going to come down to. So for those of you that have already dashed out and bought, or are considering buying, your cost to run considerations based on the lubricant choice you make are going to be, really important. The variance between running a great lubricant choice or a not so great lubricant choice, it is going to really come to bite you or not bite you when it comes to these components. And there's two parts to it. One is some changes with the component for this group set itself, and two is some changes to the cost of the actual wear components of the drivetrain. And three is obviously just literally going to come down to your lubricant choice. So I do have, so hopefully if you've been following me for a little bit, you may have sort of seen a bit about the cost to run modeling that we do for the lubricants that we test. So based on the wear from the testing that is done, and the test does cover, basically runs with no contamination, and we've got contamination blocks which cover dry contamination. We have contamination blocks that include wet contamination. So here we can see the cost to run modeling based on basically GRX 810 level components, which are mightily cheaper than XXSL components, based on the cost of the lubricant, the wear rates of the chain, and therefore which then carry across to how fast your components are going to wear. We can see, based on the lubricant's performance, really broken down what is going to be your cost to run per 10,000 kilometers. As a modeling from the testing. Obviously everyone's cycling is different, but this is a benchmark modeling where all lubricants have been basically put against each other through the exact same test. And we can see that there's quite a difference between the lubricants that have performed by far the best in dry off-road test block here, with regards to the cost to run, basically by way of the fact that the dust does not stick and become part of the lubricant, so that your lubricant remains a lovely low friction lubricant. And you can see we have wax base drip lube, or immersive wax based drip lube, Silka Synergy E, which is really the only wet lubricant that's sort of made it up there, and by way of being a really viscous lubricant, so it was a bit harder for stuff to get from outside to in. We have wax, we have a wax drip lube, Rex's Black Diamond wet lubricant, we have a wax lubricant, we have a wax lubricant, wet, wax, wax, wax. Really, as we sort of run through quite a number of times, if you're riding in the world of dirt and dust with very, very few exceptions, then wax or wax-based lubricant is your best friend. And we can see what the total cost to run modeling is coming out here, as opposed to wet lubricants that don't go so well. So here's one which I'll be covering off. I keep promising I'm going to cover this one off with a detail review soon. I will do it very soon. It is going to be one of the first off the rank when I get to my detail reviews on video. Alright, so yeah, we can see there's a pretty massive difference in your cost to run if you're on a top lubricant as opposed to a really sort of getting down into the lubricants that have not tested so well at all. Now the components cost that is used in this particular model, being the GRX 810 level components, they're not so expensive. The chains cost about sort of $50-ish at the cheapest places online, and cassette sort of costs around $120. Things are going to change quite a bit if you are on the incorrect lubricant choice and you're running XXSL. So now there's going to be two parts to this little cost to run consideration update. So, all right, firstly, here is an existing Eagle XX1 cassette. And this is, it's always been a little bit of a heartbreaker for me. It is such a beautiful cassette. We can see that the first 11 cogs, they are made of genuine tool grade steel. They are such a beautifully hardened steel component here. And then we have a alloy or aluminium largest cog to basically save cost and weight. Now the trouble is the way that the SRAM's XD free hub works is that this does need to be basically a single piece, so it's all riveted together. It doesn't mean that they couldn't make it whereby the rivets that hold the aluminium cog to the tool hard steel cogs couldn't be made that they are removable so that you could individually replace this cog. However, sadly, that is not what has been done. And quite often, it is this cog that determines when the cassette needs to be replaced. Even if you use these beautiful cogs 99% of the time and only use this cog 1% of the time, this cog is going to wear out pretty much before these have even started to wear. So on my own, my oldest XX1 cassette, I try to stay out of this cog come hell or high water, and still that is by far the most worn cog. My other 11 are really almost still brand new, and it's over 8,000 old cassette, which is pretty good to be still basically these lovely tool hard cogs at near brand new measure after 8,000 Ks of fun mountain bike riding and racing. So the aluminium just does not wear a braid well at all, and that's generally sort of pretty well known. When it is just your largest cog, you have some chance of staying out of that a fair bit. Now, sorry, excuse my voice, running out of voice today. If we move to, and this is a better picture, the new XX1 level of the XXSL group set. Boy, that's going to be hard to say shortly when I'm a little bit more tired. We can see that the three largest cogs are now aluminium, and only the bottom 9 are made of the beautiful tool hard steel. So there's going to be really no way to stay out of your aluminium cogs. You do use at least sort of cogs 2 and 3 a lot in mountain bike riding, because your climbs are often fairly steep and you're off-road, so it's sort of harder going than it is on the road. So wear on these components is going to be a concern, or wear on these cogs. And again, these are not made to be replaceable from these magnificent tool hard steel cogs. So really, sadly, it's just the trend is going to continue where a lot of SRAM cassettes are being, at the end of the day, turfed out because they are worn. A new chain will not run on the 2 worn cog without jumping under load. So you've got these beautiful cogs that are still could go on for much longer, lovelier life, but they're having to go into the bin because the aluminium buddies that they have at the end there are going to be worn. So that's sort of part one. And to me, I know SRAM has some sort of manufacturing cost reasons as to why they were sort of moving to doing this. However, they haven't really passed any manufacturing cost savings of that change onto the consumer. So if we have a sort of look at some of the prices, I'm going to get to the chains in a sec, but the actual cog. So there are 2 levels of cog with the cassette with the new drivetrain system. We have an XX level and an XO level, so very similar to the previous Eagle where you had XX1 and XO1. Now, even the price of the XO level cassette, so we can see this is the XO level because only the largest one here is that particular color. So the XO level is $920. That's probably on average, say maybe $100 to sort of perhaps $70 more than generally what you were sort of buying the previous Eagle cassettes at. So the XX level is going to be probably higher than that in Australian pricing. I've seen it overseas in America. The XX level is normally sort of around $600 US, which converts to about $900 Australian, but there's likely a few other costs added on by the time we can actually get it onto the stores here. Call it around a $900 cassette. And for that $900 cassette, 3 of those cogs are made more or less, from a sort of drivetrain wear perspective, more or less out of sweetie wrappers. I can only stress that you will want to run the absolute best lubricant option sort of viable for you with this particular cassette, because that is a really high expensive item. I mean, basically $900 Australian is pretty much ouch. Continuing the ouch factor, we have so there are 2 levels of chain. So the and this is sort of setting a pretty much new benchmark in chains. So the XO level chain, we can see it's retailing here for, and CKs here tend to be generally pretty well priced on things indeed. So $195 for the XO level, and the XX level is $225. So now that's a really expensive chain. They're probably going to be very hard wearing, like we see with the Eagle XX1 and XO1 chains. And when they're run on a top lubricant option, they will last extremely long time. So my XX1 chains are just, my oldest one is well over 8,000 kilometers, and it's really only just on 0.1% wear out of a 0.5% wear allowance. However, I do obviously run immersive wax, and I do tend to re-wax mine earlier rather than pushing treatment lifespans, because I want my super expensive bits to last for ages so that I can spend that money on other fun stuff. And that is likely to be to carry over with these chains as well. However, your chain does just so much work, and operating in the world of dirt and dust, if you're running a poor lubricant choice, or especially if it's a wet lubricant that's just going to have every particle of abrasive dust stick to it and become part of that lubricant, and then that's just going to be abrading inside on your pins and your your inner link plate bore, and inside your rollers, every articulation under very high pressure loads. There is only so much even the hardest wearing chains can obviously take riding in such conditions and with a poor lubricant choice. And as your chain wears, it is going to take out your rather magnificent cassette with it. So running cost difference, in short, on the new Eagle XXSL with them moving to 3 aluminium cogs, and a bit of a price hike on what was already pretty much the most expensive cassette on the market, along with a new benchmark in chain prices. I mean, that is just a really expensive chain. So you've pretty much got about $1,100 worth on your bike just in the chain and the cassette before we even factor in the chain ring. So there really has never been a better time to be considering things that sort of happen in the land of low friction and what options are going to help minimize your costs. So it could well be like me, where you're going to go just 8,000, 10,000 and more kilometers plus before you're going to need to worry about anything at all, or not a great lubricant choice. In a couple of thousand Ks of mountain bike riding, you're going to be already up for a pretty ouch bill. Okay, now I did promise that I would also have something for roadies in regards to this little chat as well. Sort of a bit of a similar thing with the SRAM, in a move that I really do not agree with their SRAM Axis Road componentries. They do have a power meter option with their red. They have it with force level as well. But they have the power meter is integrated in with the chain rings. So it's a pretty expensive bit of kit. And again, whilst the SRAM chain rings are pretty hardy, it just takes one poor lubricant choice where your chain can only put up with so much before it wears past the recommended replacement mark, and you run that chain worn on your chain rings, so that once the chain is worn and the rollers start to hit the tip of the teeth and slide down the face every single time the link is coming in contact with the teeth, which when you're riding is a lot, your worn chain will eat out your chain ring to the new length of the chain. So having, at the end of the day, people will be caught out with, a lubricant choice that's not amazing. They will not know that it's not amazing, because quite often it will be sold to them as amazing by somebody at a bike shop or marketing. And that chain wears fairly quickly, and they don't check chain wear or get caught out, and it eats through, sort of well into their chain rings. And the chain rings are integrated into their power meter, which is a pretty expensive bit of kit. So, it just the costs that can occur for something as simple as your chain lubricant choice, as to whether or not it is costing you really not much at all to run per 10,000 kilometers, or costing you more than a Lamborghini or a Bugatti Veyron to run per 10,000 kilometers, is really going to all come back to what you do here. So choosing something at this end of town is going to really be your friend, as opposed to choosing something down at this end of town. And obviously being on top of chain wear checking. So quality chain wear checker, my recommendation as always is the Shimano TLCN42. It's just a laser cut tool that it's 0.5 is 0.5. We can rely on that dead on every time for every tool. So chain wear checker, so that you're on top of your chain wear and replacing your chain before it is too worn, and running a proven top lubricant option, of which there will be some new ones added in here shortly with the Rex 4+1 mix and 11+1 mix, as well as some others that have been tested. That is, hopefully, and excuse me this afternoon, I'm fading you a bit. I'm pretty tired. Almost time to knock off for Easter chocolate. But hopefully, in my usual rambling way, we sort of covered off that, cost to run, it's just don't underestimate how much difference it makes, and just how much money you can have left in your pocket for other much more fun things, just from the correct lubricant choice for your riding and your components. Again, if you're running 10-speed Tiagra, and your cassette costs $30, a poor lubricant choice isn't going to sting you anywhere near as if your cassette costs $900 and the cogs that you're going to be using a fair bit are made of aluminium. So yeah, hopefully that helps, even if it's possible by fear factor, scare some people into just considering some things in the land of low friction a little bit and which way they should go. And I'll wrap that up there for today. All right, yep, my apologies. I actually thought I was going to get this done in about 20 minutes, so I went about double that. So I'll skip the quick test update. Stay tuned though, I'll be looking to try to pump out the next bunch of vid updates in much quicker succession than the normal release rate. So we'll knock off now. Everyone, stay safe, stay low friction out there. Have a great Easter. Make sure you eat lots of chocolate. I will be doing my part on that front, and then I'll try to ride a bit to offset the amount of Easter bunnies I make my way through. But have a grand time, and stay tuned. We'll be back shortly with more super low friction stuff. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye.